What if I told you there exists an ancient spiritual philosophy that aligns remarkably well with modern science and provides a blueprint for enlightenment? In this groundbreaking podcast series, we'll uncover the mystery school of Hermeticism, its origins, core texts, and fundamental principles that serve as a profound framework for understanding reality. In this first episode, we'll begin by defining exactly what Hermeticism is. Hermeticism is an esoteric, philosophical, and spiritual tradition based on the ancient teachings of Hermes Trismegistus. The word Hermetic comes from the Greek god Hermes, known as the messenger of the gods and patron of magic, writing, and alchemy. Hermes Trismegistus, or thrice great Hermes, was a syncretic combination of the Greek Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. According to legend, Hermes Trismegistus was an ancient Egyptian sage who received divine revelations that became the basis for the Hermetic corpus of sacred text. The Hermetic philosophy presented in these texts deals with the divine mind, the pursuit of gnosis or mystical knowledge, and the process of spiritual transformation. At its core is the belief that there exists a transcendent divine source, complete and perfect, of which the material world is but a fractured reflection. The ultimate purpose of the Hermetic adept is reunion with this divine mind, a state of enlightenment in which one transcends the limitations of the physical world and realizes their true spiritual nature. The foundational texts of Hermeticism are known as the Corpus Hermeticum, a collection of esoteric philosophical treatises attributed to Hermes Trismegistus himself. These were most likely written between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD by multiple unknown authors and later compiled into the Corpus Hermeticum during the Renaissance. In addition to the Corpus Hermeticum, there exist many other Hermetic texts on subjects like alchemy, astrology, magic, and ritual. Together, these comprise a powerful body of perennial spiritual wisdom. The Hermetic tradition would have a profound influence through the centuries, laying the foundations for much of Western esotericism. In upcoming episodes, we'll explore the history, central principles, and impact of this mysterious philosophy in much greater depth. For now, let us simply define Hermeticism as an ancient metaphysical tradition concerned with humanity's relationship to the divine mind. So far, we've defined Hermeticism and introduced the legendary figure of Hermes Trismegistus. Now let's delve into the myths and history surrounding this esoteric tradition. According to legend, Hermes Trismegistus received divine revelations from the supreme mind or God in the form of mystical visions and inner enlightenment. Hermes would record these sacred teachings in cryptic texts and pass them down to initiates of the mystery schools of ancient Egypt. Accounts of Hermes Trismegistus portray him as a kind of demigod or incarnated divine intellect, master of all arts and sciences, equated by some with the Egyptian wisdom god Thoth. The myths of Hermes Trismegistus were already ancient by the time they reached Plato and the Hellenistic philosophers. Hermetic teachings spread throughout the Mediterranean in the 1st centuries where they were adopted by Gnostic sects, early alchemists, and esoteric circles within Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. The knowledge was passed down in secrecy through mystery schools and occult communities over the centuries. The Hermetic arts experienced a revival during the European Renaissance, as scholars rediscovered Hermetic texts and teachings. This led to great interest in occult sciences like alchemy, astrology, and ceremonial magic. Key figures such as Marsilio Ficino and Pico della Mirandola translated Hermetic works and sought to integrate their wisdom with Christianity. While the origins of Hermeticism are veiled in legend and myth, most scholars agree that the movement emerged in the Egyptian and Greek melting pot of Alexandria sometime in the first 3 centuries. The philosophy drew from Neoplatonism, Stoicism, Gnosticism, and the esoteric lore of Egyptian priesthoods. Regardless of when or by whom the texts were composed, they represent a powerful synthesis of perennial spiritual wisdom. This mystical knowledge stream flowing from ancient Egypt remains shrouded in mystery. But as we'll see in the coming episodes, Hermeticism remains highly relevant for seekers today. The timeless truths revealed to Hermes echo through the ages and offer insight into humanity's relationship with the divine. Now that we've covered some of the history and legends surrounding Hermeticism, let's explore the core philosophical principles at its heart. Hermeticism is based on a set of metaphysical axioms or self-evident truths about how the universe functions on physical and mental planes. These natural laws provide the foundation for the tradition's mystical teachings and practices. The central tenets of Hermeticism are outlined in the sacred emerald tablet attributed to Hermes Trismegistus himself. They include the principles of mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. These principles are seamlessly interconnected and reflect how the microcosm of individual consciousness relates to the macrocosm of the divine mind. The first and most foundational principle is mentalism. This states all is mind and proposes that the entire universe exists within the mind of the supreme creative source. Matter and energy are projections of consciousness. The nature of reality is fundamentally mental rather than physical. This aligns with quantum theories about the observer effect and the role of consciousness. The principle of correspondence presents the Hermetic maxim as above, so below. It states that what happens on any plane of reality, from the physical to the mental to the spiritual, correlates to happenings on every other level. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. We'll explore examples of this in realms like sacred geometry, astrology, and fractal patterns in nature. Other principles like vibration, polarity, and rhythm describe the mechanics through which the one mind manifests the diversity of creation. By understanding these natural laws, the Hermetic student can unlock hidden capacities of consciousness and come to know thyself in the deepest sense. So far, we've explored the history and central tenets of the Hermetic tradition. Now let's discuss how mastering these esoteric principles enables access to higher states of being on the path of enlightenment. The ultimate goal of Hermetic practice is reunion with the divine mind, a state of self-realization and awakening referred to as gnosis. By living in accordance with the natural cosmic principles, the aspirant ascends to higher planes of awareness and conscious union with the source. This transformative process of spiritual purification and actualization is known as the Great Work. While the terminology is different, the Hermetic path shares much in common with practices and other mystical traditions aimed at enlightenment. There are parallels with Buddhism's emphasis on letting go of ego and recognizing the illusion of a separate self. Hermetic meditation techniques also align with those used in Hindu yogic traditions to attain samadhi. By transcending the lower self, the adept resurrects their latent higher self in all its luminous glory. On this profound journey of self-discovery, the Hermetic student comes to realize that God is man and man is God. We are not separate from the divine mind, but rather individuated manifestations of it. Hermeticism offers a universal process of gnosis available regardless of one's religious background, uniting in shared truths that transcend particular doctrines. As we'll explore in future episodes, the Hermetic path propounds a compelling framework for spiritual development that integrates mystical wisdom and scientific insight. By living in accordance with cosmic law, we embark upon the great work of inner alchemy and fulfill our highest destiny.